Hey everybody, welcome to my channel. I am here to review The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. This would be season 11. I'm going to review episode 1 and 2, which are entitled Dress to the 90210s and Two Truths and a Lie. I used to watch The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills years ago. I mean, when I say used to, I watched probably like the first 3 seasons back when Camille Grammer and Lisa Vanderpump were on the show. I mean, we still have Kyle Richards. Does she go by Richards? I think she's the only original housewife currently. But I know Lisa Rinna. I used to watch Days of Our Lives. Hi, Billy. And then I watched her on Melrose Place when she was Taylor. I'm familiar with Garcelle Beauvais. I have a really good memory. I remember I first saw Garcelle on a show called Models Inc., which was a spinoff of Melrose Place. And then, of course, she was on the Jamie Foxx show. She was Fancy. What's up, Fancy? Erica Girardi. I know of her. She's the dirty mess, the pretty mess. I know of her because I'm not going to say it because maybe you don't know, but perhaps it's been already shared on the show, but I don't want to be the one to expose her. She does not live in Beverly Hills proper. And I know this because one of my best friends lives in the same town she lives in. Not the same neighborhood, but the same town. And when I go to visit my friend, like this past year, we would go on really long walks because it was during the whole, I'm not going to say the word, when everything got locked down during the panorama. So we would go on really long walks, like anywhere from 2 to 6 miles, and we would pass Erica's house. I mean, you can't run up to the front door. It is very well secured off, but it's very affluent, old money neighborhood. I'm always sure to wear my good leggings and sports bra because you just never know who you might run into in these neighborhoods. I fully admit it. That's how I know of Erica Girardi. And, she's all over like the Instagram. She's the dirty mess. Then we have Sutton. I'm not familiar with Sutton. I don't know what she does. I don't know who she is other than that she's from the South. She's from Georgia. And then we have Dorit. Don't know who she is. Don't know what she does. I know she has young children and a husband who's a little older than she is. And then we have a new housewife, Crystal, who we'll meet later. We've also got Kathy Hilton, Kyle's sister, who I think is just going to be a friend of the show because I don't see her holding a diamond. She's not a diamond holder. So she's a friend of the show. And a lot of what these first few episodes are, of course, are sort of re-meeting the housewives and the housewives getting together, to just sort of, it's a lot of meetups and meetings in these 2 episodes, and not much is going on. It's really just sort of these storyline dragged from last season. My sister loves this show. This is why I'm sort of reviewing it, because she suggested it. And she kind of caught me up a little bit about what happened with Denise Richards. We all know her. She's Charlie Sheen's ex-wife and an actress in her own right. I guess last season she was on, and Brandi Glanville, another previous housewife who was the ex-wife to Leon Rimes' now husband. Apparently, Brandi claimed that allegedly her and Denise hooked up. And when I say hooked up, I mean like hooked up. Denise denies this. Brandi's adamant that it happened. I say, who really cares? Now, we got 2 things going on. You have Garcelle, who was a good friend of Denise, that says, like, number 1, if she says it didn't happen, we should believe her. Number 2, it's none of our business. Who cares? Then you have Lisa Rinna, who also is supposed to be good friends with Denise Richards, who just, she's got to get to the truth, and you can't handle the truth, and I need honesty, and I need the truth. But really, I guess she went in really hard on Denise, and Garcelle just doesn't really know why, especially if Lisa Rinna is supposed to be a good friend. It's kind of like, well, if you got friends like these, who needs enemies? Is Garcelle's attitude towards Lisa Rinna. There's some friction there. Also, my sister let me know, and they showed a clip of it on the show. Last season, Kyle put on some sort of auction, charity auction, and Garcelle raised her paddle to donate some money. And during the reunion, Kyle accused Garcelle of not paying that donation bill. Garcelle was adamant that she did and that Kyle was wrong. And, that's sort of the issues that are going on with Kyle. The first meetup we get is Lisa Rinna going over to Kyle's house to visit her. Lisa Rinna just got a nose job. Not Lisa Rinna. Kyle just got a nose job, and it looks great. I mean, I'm never going to hate on somebody who's, you know, work looks good. But she says she got it fixed because she was hit in the nose while making the movie Halloween. Like, that movie is 50 years old. We're just getting this corrected now? For real? Okay, I guess. Then Dorit and Erica come over to visit with Kyle while Lisa Rinna is there, and they're all just kind of like, you know, catching up. This is still during the whole, you know, world panorama. I can't say the word. My views get deducted. And they're just, you know, they're wearing masks, they're getting tested, but I don't think things are like fully opened yet at this point anyway. Dorit shares that she wants to have a barbecue for all the girls, all the wives, all the ladies to get together, but it's going to be a glam barbecue. She wants everybody to dress up because, you know, it's been a while since everybody's kind of got the glam squad going, and they're all excited for it. The next meetup we get is with Garcelle and Sutton at Garcelle's house, and they're with Garcelle's friend, Cherie. I recognize Cherie. Cherie would be Will Smith's ex-wife, the mother of his first son, Trey. I know this because I used to watch a show called Hollywood Exes, and she was on that. At the time, she was married to a pastor, so she was like the first lady of the church, but she knew how to have fun. Like, she was a good time girl. I mean, very respectful, but she's the kind of girl I'd hang out with. A lot of fun. The story, and I'm off a little bit, but I hope Cherie's a friend of the show. Can she be a friend of the show? Her husband had a church in San Diego, I think, but she was in LA filming, and he wanted her obviously to move to San Diego and be with him, but she wanted to stay in LA, and I don't know if that's what contributed to their divorce. It's too bad, but she's a beautiful girl. She's a beautiful woman. I mean, she's fun. I just remember she was like the fun one on that show. So bring her around, Garcelle. They're hanging out. They're doing these little vitality wellness shots from Press Juicery that I totally recognize because I love that place. I know it's a very LA thing to do. And even though I am an LA girl, I mean, I don't really buy into all that stuff. But I do love a good juice cleanse. But those, they do not taste good. They really don't. But they're good for you. Anyway, they're doing these shots. And Sutton's sort of asking Garcelle, like, who she's talked to. And she tells Sutton she hasn't talked to Lisa Rinna. She hasn't talked to Kyle, you know, because all of the reunion mess. She's even unfollowed them on social media. And that has not gone unnoticed by Lisa Rinna or Kyle. You know, they care about those things. I don't, but they do. So we know that some conversations need to be had. All right, so the next meetup we get is Garcelle actually meeting with Lisa Rinna for dinner to talk about everything that happened regarding Denise. And Lisa Rinna just kind of like just jumps right in with the, you know, I know I was a bad friend. I wish I could have handled it better. I wish I could have been more like you. I know I can be a CUNT. See you next week. You know what I mean? See you. I was going to say see you next week. And Garcelle's like, I hate that word, but I'm not going to argue. I hate that word too. It's just such an ugly word. But, you know, Garcelle's like, yeah, I can't argue. But, you know, it worries me because, you know, Lisa, you're supposed to be Denise's friend. And you really, like, were not there for her as a friend. And you're supposed, like, as my friend, can I trust you? And Lisa Rinna's like, no, like, yeah, me and Denise are friends, but you and I, Garcelle, we're way better friends, like way better. You know, I think that Lisa Rinna gets like everything off her chest. She feels better. And I think Garcelle just like let her do that, but didn't really say all that she needed to say because not much else happened at that dinner. That was pretty much it. We then see Lisa Rinna and Kyle going over to the new housewives' home, Crystal Minkoff, who's married to a director. I think his name is Rob Minkoff. He directs, it sounds like kid family friendly movies like The Lion King, the Stuart Little series. They've got money. They've got real money. They go over there. Crystal is good friends with Kathy Hilton, who is Kyle's sister. That's the connection they're going to give us. Crystal's doing some sort of toy drive. So Kyle comes over with a lot of like toys to donate, games and whatnot. And they sit down in the backyard to kind of just like get to know each other. You know, she's a very beautiful woman. She's got 2 young kids. She's been married to her husband forever. And, you know, she should seem to be a good addition. They invite her to Dorit's barbecue and she's down. Sounds like fun. Then we get to the barbecue. and they did not disappoint. It is a glam barbecue. These girls like dress themselves to the nines, but I mean, that's what the invitation called for. You know, Crystal comes in, she's the new girl. But you know, a lot of times on these housewife shows, when you get like a new housewife, especially if they're new to reality TV, they don't quite have their footing yet. They don't exactly know like what the dress code is. But I think this is just Crystal's style. She is, to me, a very like classic, clean, modern, timeless style, which I is totally me. I love it. My style icon is Carolyn Bessette Kennedy, who is married to JFK Jr., who tragically died in the 90s. But if you look at any pictures of her, everything she wears, you could wear today. Like, it never goes out of style. And I always ask myself when I go out and I'm shopping, like, is this something Carolyn Bessette would wear? You know, because, you know, Lisa Rinna's wearing this like banana leaf print Versace suit, you know. That sounds like something Prince would wear. You know, Erica's in this like bright pink fuchsia tulle dress. I mean, it's a party dress. It's not that they look bad in these things, but it's loud. It is very loud, and Crystal makes note of it. Like, wow, like these ladies really dress loud. And I agree. I mean, like I said, they don't look bad, but these women are 40 and above, I would say. And I'm not saying it's inappropriate, but it's just like, I mean, it's fun. I guess it's fun. It's fun. I'm not hating on it. I mean, but you know, these women are there to show off the money they have, and that you do that in like the labels you wear, the shoes, the jewelry, you know. So there you go. But I don't know that Crystal is going to be like with influenced. I think she's going to stay true to her sense of style, which at this point I appreciate, and I would probably be more like her. Like, I wouldn't walk in a tulle, like, you know, or Garcelle even comes in like this fuchsia like silk suit. I mean, looks good, but I mean, whatever. They all sit down for the barbecue. You know, it's really nothing. They're just talking about like how the whole, you know, Panini lockdown has affected them. You know, what was sort of the silver lining for you, and what was sort of the pitfalls. And it's just like, you're all rich, you're all fine. I don't really care, not really. But at one point, Sutton kind of pulls Garcelle aside to ask her how her dinner with Lisa Rinna went, and because, you know, Sutton says like, according to Lisa, like, y'all, it's all squashed, it's all good, you guys are besties again. And Garcelle's like, is that really what she said? Because you know, I didn't really get to speak my piece or my truth, so maybe we'll have to have another conversation, because she kind of just sort of like overpowered the conversation, and you know, I didn't really get to say all that I wanted. So they'll be meeting up again to go over it some more. Then at the barbecue, Lisa Rinna shares that she's planned a trip to Tahoe for all the girls to come on. They're really just like, these trips, I mean, they're wasting no time all getting together, traveling, and all the girls are down. Even Kathy Hilton, everybody's invited, everybody's going. So before we get to that trip though, Kyle and Garcelle do meet up for lunch. Again, it's just a bunch of meetups. That's all these women do, is just like meet up for lunch. It's like ladies who lunch. They meet up because they need to talk about what happened at the reunion, with Kyle calling Garcelle out about not paying the donation she pledged to pay. And I don't know where the miscommunication was, but Garcelle did pay it. It all did get straightened out, and Kyle was wrong. And you know, Garcelle is, it's a touchy topic, because we're going to be talking about race now. And Garcelle knows, you know, the perception that Black women could have put upon them as being like the angry Black woman. So she knows she can't really like say what she wants to say necessarily in the way she wants to say it, because she doesn't want to be perceived as being that angry Black woman. And also, you know, Kyle calling her out on not paying that donation kind of contributes to the stereotype of Black women not paying their bills. Now, do I think Kyle was aware of all this? I'm gonna give her the benefit of the doubt and say probably not, because Garcelle asks Kyle, like, would you have done that to like one of the white housewives? And Kyle's like, what? Like, no, like I never, like that didn't even cross my mind. And I tend to believe Kyle, because if you watch these housewife shows, they are, especially at the reunions, they are good to throw each other under the bus. They'll have some sort of secret, some sort of tidbit that they'll hold on to specifically for the reunion to embarrass each other, to mortify one another. And I think, you know, this time, I think maybe it kind of backfired on Kyle, because now it could be perceived that you were picking on this black woman and trying to embarrass her and use these stereotypes against her. I really want to give Kyle the benefit of the doubt that that wasn't her intent, but that's how it's coming across. And in this day and age, you know, this race is a very highly sensitive topic. You know, the microaggressions that you're not even realizing that you're doing, the privilege you're not always aware of, like these are all, especially in Beverly Hills, these are all real things. And I think, you know, it was a rude awakening to Kyle that you're going to have to be more careful of the things you do and say, because you might think it's innocently just, you know, you might see her just like another housewife and this is just what we do, but somebody can take it a totally different way. Is that making sense? Like, I'm trying to be very sensitive to this. I think Garcelle is totally entitled to feel the way she does. It is not without merit. And I think it was a big learning lesson for Kyle. She apologizes to Garcelle, which I think was needed and important. And they seem to sort of, you know, understand each other. And I think they're on the path to moving forward now that Kyle is aware of, you know, how Garcelle feels. You know, throughout all these meetups and lunches, you know, we do get little like snippets of the housewives at home. Like Dorit has young children at home that she gets ready to go downstairs to a room to have school with, I don't know, a teacher they hired. I'm not sure. We see, you know, Erica hanging out with her assistants, basically turning state's evidence when she takes us into her closet and we see all like the diamonds and the designer shoes. And it's like, oh, is this where all the money went? I mean, and you know, the assistants ask her like, oh, you know, so how's Tom doing, like with all this, what's going on? And she just says like, oh my gosh, you know, like he's just so ready to get back to work and just itching to get back. You know, he's a lawyer and all lawyers, they just took such a hit. They're all hurting. They just can't wait to like get back to work. And I'm like, that's not totally true, Erica. I mean, maybe if your business is stealing from orphans and widows, you might be hurting. But if you're an attorney who's on the up and up, I mean, you might not be hurting that bad. I say this because I work for a law firm. And I can say that in the year 2020 that just passed, I wouldn't say the firm I work for had a banner year, but we didn't do any worse than the year before. Kind of just like, you know, steady and even, which I'm very thankful for. I'm very blessed and lucky. But it just goes to show, like, no, I mean, don't believe the hype. I mean, allegedly, let's say, but no, Erica, can't fool me. Anyway, we finally get on the road to Tahoe. All the girls meet up. They're taking a private jet. Garcelle's nervous. She doesn't like flying. They fly over. Lisa Rinna has rented them a beautiful cabin. It's like 17 bedrooms. So, you know, everybody's happy. I mean, with the exception of like nobody really wants to be on the first floor because apparently bears can get in. And Garcelle's like, hell fuck nah, I'll be upstairs. Kyle, you can take the downstairs bedroom. But, you know, I'm so used to seeing these trips, particularly on the Real Housewives of Atlanta, where they rent like a house and there's only like one master bedroom and everybody's fighting over it. Not here at Beverly Hills. Like they each all get their own master suite. Kyle decides she wants to cook dinner for everybody, even though there's a chef there. She decides to cook some salmon, which she burns and then tries to pass off as blackened salmon. Erica's like, no, girl, that's burnt fish. But the pasta and the salad look delicious. So, you know, again, they all sit around and play like two truths and a lie. Boring. Who really cares? At this point, Garcelle decides to go have a conversation with Lisa Rinna to sort of go over their last conversations, just conversations and meetups, because Garcelle wants to like have her say. And Lisa Rinna's open to it, you know. Garcelle basically sits on the bed like, hey, can I talk to you? I get the impression that you think everything's great, but I still have some things I want to say. Again, it's just like, I just don't understand why you treated Denise the way you did. You're supposed to be her friend. Can I trust you? And can I trust you that you won't ever do that to me? And Lisa Rinna's kind of like, I can't promise you anything. And Garcelle's like, well, like, I can promise you I would never like throw you under the bus like that. Like, but okay, I mean, at least now I know how you roll. I mean, I can appreciate, I guess, Lisa Rinna being honest in the sense that she's just like, hey, shit happens. I can't guarantee anything. But then I would just say to Garcelle, and I'm sure she's aware, be careful around Lisa Rinna. I wouldn't really trust her. And they kind of just leave it at that. Lisa Rinna's like, well, thank you for coming to me. Thank you for being so honest. Like, you have more to say. Like, say it. Be honest. That's all I wanted from Denise. Whatever. Not a good friend, I don't think. And then we get to Crystal, Sutton, and Kyle in the kitchen hanging out because they finished dinner and everybody's kind of gone to bed, but they kind of want to keep the party going a little bit. And Crystal can make really good margaritas. And, they kind of get on, Kyle kind of gets on the topic of the lunch she had with Garcelle because Sutton's fully aware. Sutton and Garcelle are close. They're the close friends. So, Sutton already knows what happened, but is kind of getting Kyle's take. And Sutton asks Kyle something like, do you regret like calling her out on the reunion like you did? And Kyle's like, well, at the time, no, but now, yeah, now that I know how she feels, now that I know how it's all been perceived, yeah, I regret it. And Sutton, I think, wasn't really aware of all of what was going on. So she was just kind of listening like, what happened? And they feel, Kyle feels her and like, yeah, I kind of called her out that she didn't pay the bill. And that's kind of a negative stereotype. And Crystal's just like, oh yeah, like I can relate like as a woman who's not white. And Sutton's just like, no, we're not doing this. We're not going to have this conversation. And Crystal's just like, why can't we have this conversation? And Crystal's like, why? Because you don't see color. And Sutton's like, yeah, exactly. That's exactly it. Like, you're going to start calling me out, for my privilege, me being white and Southern. But, when I turn on the TV, I see like redneck Southern people that are supposed to represent me. And that's not me. And I guess that's true. But I mean, everybody has a stereotype. But I would say some are far worse and more hurtful than others, Sutton. And I think Sutton just doesn't, like I said, these are heavy topics and sensitive conversations. And I think Sutton just wants to kind of keep it light. She wants to keep this trip, this show, these storylines. She doesn't want to like get into the messiness that it can be, but it's life. And I think that's what Crystal was trying to say. Like, hey, these are things we can't avoid. Like maybe, see, I don't want to get all into it, but like maybe it's easy for Sutton to not have to deal with these kinds of things because she is white. And maybe what Crystal was trying to say is like, as a woman of color, she's Asian, like it isn't easy for her to just like ignore it because it's always in her face. She's been discriminated against. She's encountered racism. Maybe definitely not in the way that Sutton has. I don't know these women well enough. I don't have any favorites. I definitely like Sutton's style of dress, but I mean, it's too new for me to say, but I think maybe Sutton shut it down a little too quick. That I don't think it's going to do her any favors or gain her any fans. You have to be open and just listen. I mean, I think that's what people are saying these days more than anything. Just listen. Just be a listener. Hear what people are saying. You don't necessarily have to agree, but just try to like hear what people have to say and where they're coming from. I don't think is too much to ask, but like I said, I think Sutton's just trying to keep it light and fun and, kind of in a bubble where, we don't have to deal with race and politics and gender and equality and like, let's just live in our little Lake Tahoe bubble and just, eat our burnt salmon and wear our fancy clothes. That was pretty much it for these episodes. Where am I at? 24 minutes. I mean, that's it. Not much happened. Like I said, I hope I don't regret picking this show to review because I I mean, nothing really happened. Maybe we got to give it a little bit. I'll give it a few more episodes, but really, I mean, we're just beating this dead Denise Richards horse. Who cares? She's not on the show anymore. And, you know, other than Garcelle having to sort of, you know, whether she wants to mend or fix these relationships with Lisa Rinna and Kyle, like that's all we've got going right now. That's it. That's all. And, you know, Kathy Hilton not being able to sleep without a fan on in the room. That's all we're getting. Anyway, rate, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think about the show. If I missed something that relates to like the previous season, if you know who are Sutton and Dorit, I have no idea. Let me know, and we'll see how this goes. I mean, I just hope I don't regret this. I'm somebody who has to finish things, so I'll see the season through, even if it is dreadfully boring, but here's hoping. All right, you guys have a good night, and I'll see you next time. Bye.